Welcome, guys. Today we'll be looking at the second part of the procurement model. Today we'll be starting with project management. I think one of the things that is most confusing, what is the difference between the construction management and also the project management procurement model. So we'll be looking into that so that we can understand the differences between this procurement system. Project management. This is where the client appoints the project manager as agent to manage, to coordinate, and also to administer the project. Ensures that it works as agent for the client and manage and coordinate the activities starting from the design even to the completion of the project. So what are the key features of the procurement system? The PM manages the process but does not take the responsibility of the construction performance. So the construction performance, which is the cost, the time, and the coordination skills, rests on the client. He is just to manage the people, manage the activity, make the process. And also this kind of procurement system is more suitable for scope that is changing and is evolving throughout the process. Client bears most of the cost, the time, and also the coordination risk. Let me talk about the differences between management procurement and the construction management procurement. In the project management procurement, the PM serve as the agent. And in the project management procurement system, we have the main contractor who have like a functional relationship together with the project manager. But in the construction management procurement, there is trade contractors, which we also refer to as the subcontractors. So the client is the one that appoints the trade contractors, where the construction manager is just to oversee the construction activities and the process of the construction activities. So he just coordinates the activities. Majorly, the construction management procurement focus more on the construction aspect, while the project management procurement focus about the overall project, talking about the design, the process, and even the construction itself. So that is the major difference. The manager, they are being paid a percentage, a fee for the work that is being carried out for the construction activities, while the project management is mostly referred to as a management approach. Look at the relationship structure of the project management. Is this. You can see here the project manager is the one overseeing and is having like a contractual and also a functional relationship with the client, and is being paid a certain fee. Also, we have the client having the contractual relationship with the architect and also the builder, which is the main contractor. Is being paid based on the tendered lump sum or a fee to reimbursement. So you can see here other consultants like architects, QS are still under the project manager, which they have a functional responsibility to the project manager. And you can see here also the project manager has functional responsibility to the builder. The builder also has his own team, which is the subcontractor and also the supplier. So you can see if you look at the previous video in the construction management relationship structure, you will see that there is no builder. It's only a contractual relationship to the subcontractor, which is called also the trade contractors. So moving to the next slide, here we'll be looking at managing contractor. Managing contractor is someone that is being appointed early in the project. One of the reasons why he's been appointed is to bring about in design, planning, and programming and coordination of the project. One of the major responsibility of the managing contractor is to manage the trade contractors. These trade contractor they have like a package work for them to accomplish in the project. Package work might be mechanical services, electrical services, it can be plumbing service. And the managing contractor is to ensure that the project is delivered on cost and schedule. So moving to the key features, one of the key features of the managing contractor is that play a greater role in coordinating and delivering the work. And most times they assume more responsibility or more risk than the project manager. The risk in completing the job at the definite cost and time is more on the managing contractor, which is quite different in the project management. And also most time this procurement model is adopted in large and complex projects where design also changes. And the reason why we use managing contractor is, for example, you want to reduce the project duration. For example, have different trades, and some trade can start construction, other trade is being given out to another contractor. So you can, and let's look at also the relationship structure. So you can see here, we can see the lines of communication. The two double arrows shows the lines of communication. You can see here the managing contractor has direct communication with the quantity surveyor, the architect, and also the client. And also the architect has a connection with the engineering consultant. The work contractors, which are the trade contractors, are under the management contractor. They can be more than 4. So they work under the management contractor. The management contractor supervise, ensures that every work contractors discharge their responsibility. Moving on to innovation. Innovation is also very unique kind of design and construct. It is where you substitute one or more parties in an existing contract, existing agreement with a new party. So there is a termination of original contract, and those parties involved are being transferred to a new contract. So let me give an example. For example, the client has his own consultant, the architect, the structural, maybe the QS, and so on and so forth. So they start the preliminary design, the conceptual design, but later the client is not interested to continue with the design phase, or he has other responsibilities. He can transfer that agreement to the design and construct contractor to finish the design. So the parties involved also can be transferred, which are the consultants, can be transferred to the design and construct contractor. Those new parties and those consultants involved assume all liabilities, obligations, and the rights of the replaced parties under the original contract. One of the key features of this innovation is that there must be agreement between parties. For example, you want to be sure that the original contract, the liabilities, the contractual responsibilities has been fulfilled by the client, or the payment to the consultant has been completed before the transfer of the contract to the contractor. That is very vital in the innovation. The second one says termination of original contract. The agreement between the consultant and also the client, the original contract must be terminated before the new contract. So another thing is there is transfer of responsibility from the original contract to the new party. Because the consultant working with the client is like an old party. When they are moving to a new party, which is with the contractor, that there is a transfer of the responsibility, and this must be checked before the transfer. Let me say the innovation contract or agreement must be properly checked and must be properly understood before the transfer of responsibility. So another key features here is there is continuity of design. So the design, which is the preliminary design or the concept design from the client, is being transferred to the design and contractor, and the design and contractor continues the design has been started already. So this is one of the key features of innovation. And the last point here says contractor may prioritize cost efficiency over the original design. Sometimes the design and construct contractor is interested in cost efficiency. If the original design from the client is not cost efficient, there is possibility that the contractor might change some of the design to suit him or herself. So that is why most times the consultants involved in the process of the preliminary design or the concept design are being transferred to ensure the interest of the client. Most times that's one of the disadvantages. There might be the clash between the consultant and the contractor because the consultant most times is interested to ensure that the original design is being actualized. So this is one of the disadvantage of innovation contracts. So moving on to the relationship structure. So the relationship structure here shows, you can see here we have the dotted red lines, which shows that the architect and other consultants are being novated to a new contract, which is to the contractor. So before the novation, these architects and consultants were working with the client on the design, so on the preliminary design or what the client wants. So from there, it's being transferred to the contractor and the design is being completed. So you can see also the contractor and also the functional relationship between the stakeholders. Moving on to the next one, we have the PPP. The PPP is very, very common also in a large and complex project. This kind of procurement model is a collaborative approach between the private sector and also the government. So the key features, this kind of procurement model is used in a long-term contract. For example, in 10 to 20 years contract. For example, you have the design maybe for 1 year, you have the construction maybe the period of 3 to 4 years, you have the operation and maintenance maybe with 10 to 20 years contract, where the risk sharing, the financial risks, the design risk, the operational and maintenance risk is being shared between both parties. Most times, this kind of procurement is being used in projects like toll road, hospital, schools, and bridges, and also in airport construction. So features here says most times the private sector finance, build, and operate the project for a while. I will still be looking at the various different forms of PPP projects. But before that, let's look at the relationship structure. So you can see special purpose vehicle company, they have different team in the private sector. So they have the finance team, the investor team, the D&C, the design and construct team, the project manager, the advisor, and the operator. So all these risks are being shared by this team. So they work together to make sure that the project is executed. So partnering with the government to ensure that the agreement is being fulfilled. So let's move to the next one. We have different variants of PPP. So we have the BOT, which is build, operate, and transfer. We have the BOO, which is the build, own, and operate. We have the BOOT, which is the build, own, operate, and transfer. We have the BOAT, build, own, lease, and transfer. We have others. We have the DBFOM, which is the design, build, finance, operate, and maintain. So different variants depending on the agreement. So that's why the private sector and the public sector must come together on how we want to execute this project, because it's a large project, and how the private will recoup their finances at the long run. Let's say, for example, let me give a perfect example. We have, let's say, a bridge construction. So let's say the government gives the private sector to construct, to design, and to build, and to finance the bridge construction. So after that agreement has been made, there must be an agreement that after this, after we finish this bridge construction, we are going to operate and maintain these facilities for 10 to 20 years. And in the process of this 10 to 20 years, they have been able to recoup their finances. So they recoup their finances on the users of the facility through the ticket and so on and so forth. And after the period of 10 to 15 or 20 years, based on the agreement, hand over to the government to maintain the facility. So different kind of private-public partnership. So let's move to I think this is the last one. Have alliancing. So alliance means to come together, agree together as a team to finish a project. This is where the client and other stakeholders involves the designer and also the contractor work collaboratively with shared risk and reward. Kind of procurement model, there's no blame game. Fault on one stakeholder or the other, pushing risk on one stakeholder or the other. So every risk, reward, pain, gain is being shared by all the team. So it's a collaborative effort. Let's look at the features of this procurement model. Number one, in this kind of procurement model is being used in a complex, uncertain, and high risk or high value infrastructure. So very large and complex projects. For example, maybe oil and gas projects. So high risk, high value, where you have need for innovation, technical expertise, solutions to problems in the project. So another thing is that you have urgent project start is required where solution is unclear. So it is, you need to just start the project, although you don't have overview of how the project will go eventually. You just have to start. We have a lot of projects like that across Nigeria and also in Australia. Point, we have high level of innovation. So I've mentioned that technical designs and so on and so forth. Also, risks are unpredictable. So you can't predict risk, because in this kind of project is a unique project and magnificent project. And another point here says a diverse range of stakeholders. So you it involves a lot of stakeholders contributing to the success of the project. Another one is a low cost of certainty. So it's not sure how much will be spent on that project. A lot of billions will be spent in the construction of that project. So majorly in manufacturing, oil and gas industry. I mentioned the last point before. I said there's no blame and no dispute ideology. Let's look at the structure here. So you can see this was taken from Auditors General of Australian National Audit Office, 2000. So you can see here there is different departments. We have the Department of Communication, Information Technology in this Peninsula Alliance. We have the team of building and service contractors coming together, different contractors coming together. We have also museum exhibition design coming together to work on this project, Peninsula Alliance. We have the ACT government working together. And also we have the architect, a group of architects working together to ensure the project is successful. So alliance is good, but most times you are not certain about the cost. Even the time is not guaranteed because it's used in very high risk and high value projects.